Now that we've practiced with the properties of logarithms, let's now take it a step further and use the properties to expand a logarithm. So our directions say use the properties of logarithms to expand the following, and assume that all the variables are positive, because remember we have the restriction that x has to be positive. Okay, not this x, but like the general x. Right? So one thing I like about like the properties of logarithms is that it's pretty flexible with how, like, on the order of how you do things, as long as it makes sense logically. So there's a bunch of ways to do it. I'm going to show you guys just one way. If you think of another way and you're curious to see if that works logically, send me an email and I'll tell you if you're allowed to do that or not. So let's start with example 1. So before we talk about example 1, when we say expanding logarithms, one logarithm, what does that mean? That means at the end of our answer, we should have multiple logarithms, right? Unless they simplify. But for the most part, like when you start it, you have to expand it, like make more, right? So example 1, we have log of the square root of x plus y divided by 10. So the first thing that I'm going to do is, since there's no number here, what does that make b? Okay. If you're thinking 10, then you are correct. This is log base 10, okay, of x plus y over 10. Right? So you don't have to keep writing 10. This is just kind of a review that what you need to know. We will probably use it later, but for right now, since when we're expanding, don't waste ink or lead on 10. So when I do this, the first thing I'm going to do is I notice this big dividing sign. So what am I going to do? I'm going to use the quotient property of logarithms. So I'm going to make this log, and then this is square root of x plus y, and this is minus log of 10. Right? So in our case, so this is by property, and then I think it's 6. Okay. So in general, so x is our square root of x plus y, and then y is equal to 10. All right. So now what am I going to do? So since I have a square root here, we know that square roots can always they can be turned into an exponential. So this can be log, and then this can be x plus y to the 1/2. Okay, and then over here, so I notice a 10 here. So let's just put 10, right? So it's going to be a little more clear to see. Over here, since there's an exponent, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring it forward to make it a coefficient. So this becomes 1/2 log of x plus y. Make sure you put parentheses here because this is not the same. Okay, these two, not the same at all. You're saying this is log base, or this is log of x plus y, but this is log and then of x plus y. So like from PEMDAS, you're going to add x and y first before you take the logarithm. Okay, so yeah, those are not equivalent, so you have to make sure you put parentheses. Now I look at this log base 10 of 10. So what do we know? So if we look at a second property here, we have log base b of b. So if we have the same base, so this is equal to 1. Okay, I'm looking this over, so I'm going to ask myself, is this as simplified as possible? So is there any more division? Is there any more multiplication? Are there any more powers I have to bring forward? Okay, when I look at all of this, this is as simplified as it's going to get. We can't separate addition or subtraction in a logarithm. Okay, just multiplication and exponent. Multiplication, division, and exponent. Right? So this is as simplified as it can get. So the expanded form of log of the square root of x plus y over 10 is equal to 1/2 log of x plus y minus 1. Now, let's do another example. Oh my goodness. Okay, so for example 2, we want to expand log base b of the 5th root of x to the 4th over yz cubed. All right. So if I have a 5th root here, how can I rewrite this? I can rewrite this as, so x to the 4th over yz cubed, and then this is to the 1/5 power. Okay. Over here, you could distribute the exponent, but why? Okay, because we have a very nice property that we can just bring the 1/5 out front right away. Okay, so then we're left with x to the 4th over yz cubed. And this one was what? Property 8? No, oh my gosh, it's 7. Okay, so I use the power property. Now, again, I notice this division. So one thing about this 1/5 is this 1/5 is for every logarithm. So make sure we just put a big one, and when we, just make sure you have parentheses. So I'm going to use the quotient property. So this becomes log base b of x to the 4th minus log base b of yz cubed. Okay, we want to put parentheses here because if we just put the 1/5, and if it was just, then it would just be on this. Okay, but that's not true because the 1/5 is also attached to the second term. So now let's keep going. Okay, because I'm looking at this, there's still powers, there's still multiplication, we still have much more to do. So actually, let me bring more space. Okay, so let's see. So I did property 7. This one is property 6. Okay. One thing I do want to note is that, so for your test, when you do logarithms, I do want you to so since you can look at your notes, okay, I want you to tell me which property you're using. Okay. So, and I want you to use 1 through 7. Okay. You cannot change the order. So let's continue. 1/5. Okay. Looking at this first logarithm, I notice there's a power, so I'm going to use the power rule. So this becomes 4 log base b of x. Right. I'm just going to, instead of doing more steps, you can if you want, but I'm not going to. So this is by property 7 again. Okay. I'm looking at this first logarithm, and I can't do any more to it. So now let's focus on the second one. So again, since there's a minus here, we have to make sure there's parentheses. So for log base b of yz cubed, this is multiplication. This is y times z cubed. So this can be broken up into log base b of y plus log base b of z cubed. Okay. So maybe, hopefully, maybe to make it a little more clear, so these parentheses are for this one. Okay, and this was by property 5. Okay, so again, first one has not changed whatsoever. So, but when I look at here, so I guess before we continue, so since there's parentheses and there's a minus, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to distribute this minus. So this becomes log base b of y, and then minus log base b of z cubed. Okay. You could also apply another property at this step, but I'm just going to take this one step at a time. Okay, so this is 1/5 still. This is 4 log base b of x minus log b of y. And then over here, so there's still an exponent, so I'm going to bring it to the front. So this becomes 3 log base b of z. Right, let me check something real fast. Right, so yeah, so I didn't distribute, so you don't have to distribute the 1/5. You can if you want, but you don't have to. So this right here is the expansion of log base b of the 5th root of all of that fun stuff. Right? So when we're expanding logarithms, just take it one step at a time. All right? Just ask yourself, like, what properties am I using? And so, yeah, just gotta practice a lot with these to get the hang of them.